Welcome to VGT 101, Video Game Terminology. I'm your host, sensei-pong. Whether or not you consider yourself hardcore or stick to a single type of game or recently found yourself getting into some games or genres you're not exactly familiar with, jumping into a games forum, reading comments, or checking out a review may be confusing at times with odd niche gaming mumbo-jumbo. Sometimes terminology arrives by chance or by necessity, so when going through some RPG games or dungeon crawlers, things like stats and level design are pretty straightforward. What the fudge is RNG? Why are some gamers angry at that notorious RNG? No, it's not a rapper. And no, it's not R&D. That's research and development. I don't think a lot of people are generally mad at research and development, but that would be funny if that were the case.
Curse that research! You filled me with lies!
Okay, back to the point. What is RNG? RNG is an acronym that stands for Random Number Generator. So what is it, and why is it a thing? So in the creation of a program such as a game, the RNG is very important, and simulates the roll of a die or dice of any given face amount. In a non-virtual environment, this can be most easily seen with a tabletop pen and paper game, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. With AD&D, the game is driven mechanically by numerous types of dice for different situations or stat management, etc. And in video games where stats and random chance are important, such as randomly generated games such as, roguelikes. Please refer to my previous VGT if you haven't the darnest what a roguelike is. Shameless self-promotion is in the description via link below. But in regards to RPGs where stats play a major role, the character the player is controlling normally battles enemies like monsters. The strength of the attack, let's keep it simple, is determined by the attack stat. A more complicated scenario would then include the damage of the weapon the player is wielding, the defense of the enemy, armor of the enemy, etc. and blah blah blah, so on. But to keep things simple, let's just say we have a warrior named Billy the Club. His attack stat is 5. If the RNG was designed with a standard 6-sided die, let's say rolling 2, 3, or 4 would have Billy attack with his regular amount of damage of 5. If Billy were to attack with a roll of 1, he would have a critical failure and only strike maybe a 1 or a miss. But if Billy were to roll a 6, then he could possibly state that Billy landed a lucky blow or a critical hit and damage his opponent with a strike damage of 10. Now, keep in mind, this is a really simplistic example and most stat-based games are more complicated than this, with other variables to take into consideration. But, that's not really the point. This can also play into other types of games such as first-person shooters, with a situation where using a gun that isn't known for its accuracy is being used. For example, if you are playing Call of Duty and for some weird reason you're sniping from afar with an Uzi. Yes, I know, this is a crap example. But for the sake of argument, let's just say you're sniping with an Uzi. And once your target is a certain distance away, the accuracy is lost to the fact that it's simulating, well, an Uzi. Let's say the RNG is based to randomly generate a number within the range of 100, and with your opponent being so ridiculously far away, you'll only land a hit if the RNG rings a number above 98. This example, again, is pretty simplistic, I know, but that's another example of how RNG could be used in terms of games. Now I know some of you are going to gripe at me and say that FPS gamers don't use the term RNG for these situations. Well, that's mostly true. For a situation of a FPS game, these sort of accuracy and power differences between weapons would normally be called balancing. Or in other words, how balanced is the game? Is it fair? Etc. Is something OP? Or does it need to be nerfed? Another common example where RNG plays a factor would be the difficulty settings on certain games. Let's say you're playing a chess game on your computer. The AI is given a choice of a certain amount of moves it's able to do for every turn. For a lower difficulty, the chances the AI would execute a good move is lowered based on its RNG. If the difficulty were set higher, the chances the AI would execute a brilliant set of moves or strategies increased based on its RNG, etc. That's why sometimes the AI seems really stupid or is poorly designed. It's because the RNG is in the player's favor and the chances that the AI would do something stupid is pretty high. Or if a game is too difficult for most, then in that case the RNG is set against the gamer's favor, etc., and so on. But overall, RNG is normally used for RPG games where stats play a major role, or as an adaptation of a board game / pen and paper game that would normally use dice. So next time you troll your virtual self on the interwebs and look up a game like, Darkest Dungeon and read that, "Boo-hoo, the RNG is horrible." Remember, they're talking about random chances of critical hits, item drops, etc. Or they're just really bad at playing games. Yeah, I'm calling you all out, booms. Who's your sensei? Either way, I hope you enjoyed this little VGT spin-off video. And leave a comment down below on what you thought about it. This may become an infrequent reoccurring thing if I'm happy with the format in a week or 3. I'm not really sure who I'm catering to here. Casual gamers, hardcore gamers, bro gamers, non-gamers. Who knows? It just seemed like a fun idea to put definitions on terms that not every gamer may know. But hopefully I can get some people to dive into some games they're not familiar with. Or will love to play, but just not know it yet. Anywho, thanks for watching. Sensei-pong signing out.
Like and subscribe.